And we are live right here on a Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Folks, I hope that you are tuning in. We are going to give you just a few moments to tune in and get ready. I know we're going at a little bit of an odd time. Obviously, I'm a parent and I got all sorts of things going on. So I want to always make sure that I'm taking care of my own children, just like you are trying to take care of your children. So today, here's what we're going to discuss. How in the world did the sports world fall this far out of balance? I love Tim Elmore. He says this all the time. You know, abandonment's really bad. Abundance is really bad. You got to find some balance in there. And it's almost as if in the sports world, we went from very little to the foot on the gas, crazy, out of control, professionalized sport at every level. So here's what we're going to do today. Tony Williams, thanks for tuning in. You better listen. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this guy's theory on where he believes some of these issues began to occur in the world of sports. And so I'm just going to say it. It's going to hurt me because this has been so instrumental in our lives. Before Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, we would waste hours upon hours upon hours watching this. So I believe this, one of the biggest downfalls of the sports world today began in 1979. Can anybody out there give me an answer? 1979. Guess what happened in 1979? Come on, somebody throw an answer out there. Let's see who's smart. Anybody got an answer? 1979. I was born in 1977. So no one's got, I thought Tony Williams might have an answer. I thought we might have discussed this. But in 1979, here's what America was introduced to. Can anyone remember this sound? Da-da-da, da-da-da. It's this thing we call SportsCenter. In 1979, SportsCenter entered the scene. In 1979, there were 30,000 people that saw SportsCenter for the very first time. In 2015, 2.15 million people tuning into SportsCenter, watching those shows over and over and over and over again. I can remember being on trips, wrestling trips in college and stuff like that. And if there's nothing else on, you just watch SportsCenter like 80 times. I can remember riding a bus back on trips, and it's like SportsCenter just goes. You wake up 6 hours later and you're hearing the same thing because we have just become enamored with sports. Now, you go, what's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. And I took some notes, and here's what I want to do. I want to give us one truth, and then I want to give us one tip. All right, so one truth, one tip, as we dive into why I believe SportsCenter, in all of its good, created some carnage for us when it comes to the sports world. So here's the first thing. When SportsCenter entered, or before SportsCenter entered, like sport was like, there was unknown. I mean, for you to make it like big time, I mean, everyone knew it's like the odds are against you. It's this huge journey. All this work was going to be required. But when SportsCenter entered, here's what happened. Sports went from being about the journey and the process to being all about the arrival. So sports went from being about the journey and the process and like, wow, man, this is almost near impossible. And if I'm going to make it, I'm going to have to do everything right, to SportsCenter almost convinced us and manipulated us and coerced us into believing that, hey, it's all about the arrival. Because here's what SportsCenter did. They don't show the bad plays, and they don't show the hours upon hours of sacrifice and practice. Now, we love the shows, the 30 for 30s and things like that, but SportsCenter, in its original intent, it was all about the highlights. I mean, I can remember waiting to see top 10 and things like that. And so what happened in our minds and in our culture is we really began to believe that, hey, man, that's us. So what happened is we made all sports almost resemble those things, that no longer was it about the journey, it was all about the arrival. And even at 6, 7 years old, everyone began to believe, well, hey, it's just about the arrival. It's about game time, and it's about highlights, and it's about making cool shots or doing cool things, when in all actuality, you know how you become great? You put in a lot of time and you make a lot of sacrifices. That's how you become great. So Here's the truth. Sports went from being about the journey and the process to being all about the arrival. Here's what I know. 6-year-olds understand arrival. They do. They understand winning. They understand getting a trophy. They understand when their parents tell them they won a state championship when there was 50 state championships. They understand arrival, but here's what's dangerous about that. Sometimes that arrival is false. It's not good for them. And it allows them to become not process driven. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not the coach or the guy to say, I hear people say all the time, oh, you got to love the process. Time out. You ready? I've done a lot of hard things in my life. I've been very fortunate. I don't always love the process. It is not our job. It's not even smart to try to convince our kids or those we're leading to love the process, because I've been on a treadmill and I've been in a wrestling practice before and I've been in the weight room before, and there was zero love in the moment for the process. The goal should be to teach our kids and those we're leading to trust the process, to put your yes on the table and believe that it's going to yield a result. I can't guarantee that result, but I can guarantee if you don't put your yes on the table, you're never going to get that result. So the second thing is this. We got to be careful. So the danger of that not being about the process and it just being about the rival, and SportsCenter kind of throwing that on us, that's all we saw over and over in 30-minute increments, is that we got to be careful to not let them believe that they've arrived too early. Again, it's why I'm kind of anti-youth sport, is that, I see these kids and they got state championship rings at 7, 8 years old, and I'm going, oh my goodness, we are creating a monster here, because they really think they've arrived. And if you've arrived, then why keep going? So the goal in sport is to get them to fall in love somehow with this journey and with this process. Even though it gets really old and it's painful at times, I learned to embrace those things. So first truth, sports went from being about the journey and the process to being all about the arrival. 1979, 30,000 viewers. 2015, 2.15 million. At ESPN, we want to thank you for all you've done, but I do think you've created some issues in our minds, our imaginations, whatever. Here's the second thing. I want to give you a tip, okay? One truth, one tip. Here's the tip. The tip is this. Allow the sports journey to create, oh, this is good, man. You ready? Tony, you ready? Allow the sports journey to create heroic behavior, not just celebrity status. Let me say that again. In your life, as you raise your children, as you lead other people, allow the sports journey to create heroic behavior and not just celebrity status. Listen, I'm going to burst some of your bubbles. I tell you guys every week, I got 4 kids. I was just with 2 of them. They're so precious, all right? Actually, they're annoying sometimes. But we love our children, man. They are so cute when they're out there playing like 7-year-old baseball and everyone stinks and we act like they're really good. But here's what you have to realize. Your kids aren't special. Your kids aren't special. They're special to you, but they're not special because they're just kids, and all kids matter. And sometimes in our attempt to honor, brag, promote, pimp out, whatever, in our attempt in our lives to almost be good parents, here's what we do. We almost sell some false information. And so, we gotta be careful when we do that, because we want to be careful not to create a false celebrity through social media, promotion, whatever. I can remember, 30 years ago, 1979, when SportsCenter came out, the only way someone knew what your kids looked like was you had to get your wallet out. That thing, I can remember my dad's wallet's thick, sweaty, you know what I mean? The pictures were faded, and you would see these like just ugly family photos. Well, today, because of social media and things like that, the only thing we show about our kids is the highlights. All right. I watch people like film their kids playing. I don't even like doing it because I feel like I'm going to jinx them. But like we film our kids and they butcher about 80% of the game, and we show the one like awesome layup that they made. Now, nothing wrong with you filming that. But when we post and promote and all these different things, oftentimes what it does is it creates this false sense of celebrity in our kids, and they really begin to believe that they're special. And then all of a sudden at 14 or 15, they're on a team of a whole bunch of other people, and they're not that special anymore, and they don't know how to deal with it. So you need to love your child, honor your child, encourage your child, build up your child, believe in your child, all these different things, but be careful not to make your child believe that they're a celebrity, because the role and the journey of sport should be much more about creating heroic behavior than creating celebrity status, because there's not a lot of 7-year-old celebrities out there in the world. And if I'm honest, I want my children to be more heroic than they are just celebrities on social media or whatever. Life's not a highlight reel. It's a messy journey, and it's okay that your life and your family is a messy journey as well. You just fit in with the rest of us. I promise you, I'm just a struggling fool on this journey trying to figure it out myself. So where does Heath Esslinger believe some of the downfall came in the sports world? I believe it started 1979, 30,000 viewers, all the way to 2015, 2.15 million viewers, when we allowed sports to go from being about the journey and the process to being all about the arrival. What's our tip to fight that? Allow the sports journey to create heroic behavior and not just celebrity status. How do we do that? Coaches, here's how we do it. We coach them hard, and we love them harder. And if we love them that much, then what we'll do is we'll set them straight at times, and we'll let them know that, hey, this whole sport thing's probably not the end all. There's a lot more to learn through it. And if we're parents, here's what we'll do. Whether they have 1 highlight, 10 highlights, or no highlights, maybe they sit on the bench the whole time. When they get in the car, here's what we're going to do. We're going to remind them of how much we love to watch them play. Can I tell you this? I love making an impact in this journey we call sport. I'm grateful to FCA Wrestling. I'm grateful to A Better Way Athletics and the things we're doing there. I'm grateful to coaches all over the country who bust their tails day in and day out to make a difference in young people's lives. So thanks for tuning in each and every week. I hope that sparked your mind a little bit to go back to those days when you were watching SportsCenter in middle school and high school or whenever. And I hope that you will join us as we seek to make a difference in the sports world and put sport in its proper perspective. We'll see you guys next week.